Hello, I'm Charles Rice, and this is
Gilani.
And we're two cloud solution architects in the customer success unit for Microsoft Education. We truly see our customer success as Microsoft's success. In order to achieve that, our goal is to create real value for our customers by using our products. What we mean is create value across the institution, from a very high level to faculty, staff, research, and last but not least, students.
I would say more than that, Charles, because if you see the customer nurturing cycle here, we start with engaging with the customers, transacting with them on each and every phase of their progress, and actually helping them in the adoption of the Microsoft Cloud much easier, much simpler, and a customer keeps getting the growth cycle increase every time we repeat this cycle.
Data science and research analytics are two really hot topics right now, especially in Azure. And what we've done to make sure that you're ready to go to start conducting that research in data science in Azure is we've created training videos, case studies, labs, hackathons, templates, and much more.
So stay tuned, there's lots of more fun coming on these areas. Myself, Charles, and my team are creating lots of material here. So keep watching, keep providing the feedback to improve all this content. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Charles Rice, and this is
Gilani.
And we're two cloud solution architects in the customer success unit for Microsoft Education. And we're here today with two soon-to-be graduate students from the University of Texas at Austin. This is Pushan and Tiru, and I'll let them tell you a little bit more about themselves.
Actually, very important students.
Very important students, yes.
Thank you, guys. I'm Prushan Shah. I am a current MSBA student at UT Austin. MSBA is a Master's of Science in Business Analytics. We absolutely love data science, and today we're going to show you guys how to implement it using Azure.
Hi guys, I'm Tiru, and I'm also a Master's in Business Analytics student. And as you mentioned, we're going to be graduating very soon. And today we're going to show you how to do cool data science projects using Azure.
Cool.
So this is your Notebooks at Azure page. So Azure Notebooks is a cloud-based platform in which you can run Jupyter Notebooks.
So can you tell me a little bit more about what Jupyter Notebooks is as context?
Yeah, sure. So Jupyter Notebooks is a way to organize and to run your code interactively and piece by piece. Mm-hmm. So for other Python IDEs, it's like a script where you have to run the entire thing. Here you can run the code block by block, and you can kind of see how it's running and the results for each part. Essentially, they're the same thing. If you know how to run Jupyter Notebooks, you know how to run Azure Notebooks.
So why would you run Azure Notebooks then rather than just a Jupyter Notebook?
Yeah. So the thing about Azure Notebooks is that because it's on the cloud, you don't have to keep any of the data or any of the scripts on your workstation or on your computer. It's all on a server somewhere, and so you don't have to worry about having any of like the infrastructure or the backend. So it's all done for you.
Nice.
Another great point, you can share and collaborate your work very easily on using Azure Notebooks.
Okay, so we're going to start with how to create your Azure Notebook and your project. So when you log into notebooks.azure.com page, you're going to go to My Projects. And here, we'll create our first project. So you go to New Project here. And you can name it anything you want, a memorable name. So we're just going to do Introduction. And you can make it public or private. For our sake, we'll make it public. And you click Create. Cool, so you made your first project. And in your project is where you can store all your resources for that project. So we go to this plus button over here. And you have these four options, and we're going to click on Notebook. So here again, you're going to create your notebook name. We're going to do Intro Notebook. And you can select which language you want to use. And for our sake, we're going to do Python 3.6.
But if you're used to developing in 2.7 or 3.5, you just select the other one.
Yeah, you can select anything you want.
Also, I guess you have the option to run R and
F sharp as well. Yep. So we're going to create our new notebook. Cool. Okay, so it's created. Now you want to click inside of it. And as you can see, this is very similar, or this actually is what a Jupyter Notebook would look like. And you can see that you have these blocks. These blocks are where you can insert your code, insert any kind of headings, any kind of labels, and you can pick what you want to be in there. So right now, this is a code block or a code cell. If you go here, you can pick what you want that cell to be. So mostly, at least my personal experience, I just use code and Markdown. If you click Markdown, this is more for text and for labeling and for headings. So we're just gonna start that here. We're just gonna go Introduction to Azure Notebooks.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to add a new cell, you just click this plus button and you have a new coding cell. So you can start coding right away. And now I will hand it off to Thiru, who will talk about more of the functionalities of Azure Notebooks.
Cool.
Thanks, Bhushan. So now, by default, your Azure Notebook will run on a free compute resource. While that is great and you can do many things with it, if you want more resources, you can go ahead and create a data science virtual machine. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. What you can do is you can go to portal.azure.com and it will take you, when you log in, it will take you to your dashboard. Here we have already created one virtual machine, but I can show you how to go ahead and create your own virtual machine. So you just click on create a resource button, and that takes you to this dashboard again, and you can just search for a data science VM. Now you can choose any that you want, but I'll go ahead and create a Ubuntu one. Here you just click create again, and then you can fill out this form, which will give you a new resource to work with. You can just, so when you look at the resource group, you can create your own. What this essentially will do is create a bundle of resources in one project for you so that it becomes more easier to use multiple resources for your project. I have one created, so I'll just go ahead and use that. You can give the virtual machine a name that you want, so I'll go ahead and create an intro. Okay, and for the region, you want to choose whatever is closest to where you're living. I'm in Austin, so I'll go ahead and choose South Central. Again, as I mentioned, you can, if you wanted more resources, you can go ahead and change the size of the virtual machine. For my project, I feel this is perfectly fine, but you can click on change size and that will show you, give you a multitude of options which you can choose from.
So Thiru and Charles, I think I would like to ask a question here.
Sure.
So what's the basic difference resources-wise, CPU and memory-wise between a free compute? What is the limit of a free compute? And then you have to select a better machine here.
Sure. So one of the big limitations for the free compute is that this size or the storage amount, I think it's limited to either 2 or 4 gigabytes.
Oh.
So if you're working for a large data set, it'll fill that up pretty quickly, and then you won't be able to complete your project. So that's probably number one reason people would use would deploy a data science virtual machine. There's also the compute power of the free compute as well. I'm not sure exactly where that is.
So does that mean to start any small project, free compute is fine?
Yes, absolutely.
And once
To learn,
it's moving more on dev test and production side, it's better to have a data science
Yeah.
virtual machine.
So it's a combination of the storage capacity and also compute and memory too, right? So
Yeah.
you got to kind of gauge where you are and what you need.
Sure, makes sense.
Yeah.
Please.
Yes, so the next step is just to create like an authentication type, which will let you log on to your notebook. I would just create a username and password. So I'm going to use my name and then a password. After you're done with that, you can just review it, review your machine, review the form for the virtual machine, and then just click on next, and that will help you create the virtual machine. Now, since we already have one, I'll show you how we can use that. So once you can go back again to your my projects and click on. So once you go back to your projects, you can click on the project you want to work in. So we go into the introduction project that Bhushan just created, and here on the top left you see the button where you can change.
It looks like it's already running on free compute, so you just hit that stop button.
So now here you can change how you want to run your project. You can see this is the intro virtual machine that we just created, and we can click on that, and now when I launch my notebook, it runs in a virtual machine. So another functionality that I wanted to share with you guys, which I find really cool, is how you can share your notebook. You can just click on the share button, and this will give you 4 options, which you can probably copy the link and send to your friend or put it in your project report.
Also, real quick, I guess I just noticed this. So sharing is great, right? But since this is 100% Jupyter Notebooks, you could also download the project onto your workstation. So if you're trying to work on this on an airplane, doing data science at 30,000 feet, for example, you just download this onto your workstation, run it locally on your workstation with just regular Jupyter Notebooks, and it will run fine.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Yes. And another great functionality, which I absolutely love, is how you can upload a GitHub repo here. This just helps you run whatever you see on GitHub on your own. So, for example, I have this GitHub link, which I really like, and then I can just copy the GitHub link. And I do want to ensure that I click on the clone recursively button, because that will help it clone all the folders from the GitHub repo, and I can create a unique ID for my project, and again choose if I want to make it public or not. Click on the import button, and that will just help you create a new project which has all the GitHub code that you just imported. It's a really cool and easy way to do it, and we're excited to take you through more projects.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiru. Thank you, Pushan. I think that was a great introduction to Azure Notebooks. Want to say anything else?
And wait, more fun is coming. Artificial intelligence is fueling the next wave of transformative innovations that will change the world. With Azure AI, our goal is to empower organizations to apply AI across the spectrum of their business.
We are developing the tools to enable anyone, not just PhDs or researchers, to harness the most powerful AI supercomputers in the world in order to overcome their problems, no matter how complex.
We are moving beyond big data and machine learning capabilities to be able to infuse cognitive capabilities.
I think Azure for research with the cognitive services and the machine learning capabilities there are phenomenal to help researchers actually maximize their time. They spend less time building and maintaining systems and more time actually implementing and doing the studies that are necessary for this research.